Welcome to Roger Cesaris of Words for Writers, and today I'm actually going to split Dig 3 into two videos, mainly because there's too many words. So let's get this started with. Roger Cesaris of Words for Writers. Now, our first word is art, and get ready here because we have a lot of synonyms. We have 29 synonyms in total. See why I'm going to split this into two parts? Well, firstly, we have Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau is just a popular design form that was actually kind of popular in the 1880s. Very popular back then, but not so much now. And then we also have this word, auteur. Auteur is basically means you're strict and lenient. You're strict and lenient. You're like, I must go ahead and I must have these boundaries. If I cross those boundaries, that is not art. Nah, I don't think that's actually true. Next up, we have avant-garde. Avant-garde, and this is basically means it's the latest trend, say, on TikTok, or the latest trend, the trending videos on YouTube, or maybe even Instagram and those kinds of things. And that's avant-garde. And then we also have Baroque. Now, Baroque here, it's an Italian art style that's from the 17th century. It's also a style of music, and then again, music also counts as art, so that works. We have chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro basically means it's the patterns between light and dark, like a chessboard. Like there are alternating squares of white and black. Alternating squares between white and black. And that is a lot to actually go ahead and work with. So that works out really well. And then we have expressionism. Expressionism basically means it's a form of art. It's an art movement from the 19th to the 20th century. And it works out pretty well as well too. It's still popular to this day as well too. Then we also have futurism, which basically means it's an artwork from the future. It's like it's showcasing the future. It's futuristic. And then we have genre, and genre basically means it's the kind of art that you're going. It's the topic of your art. It's the topic of your art. And then we have Impressionism, and Impressionism is again another art movement, and it's actually kind of popular as well too. In fact, it's the style that Claude Monet drew his paintings in. All those swirls and things, all those wavy, blurry skies, all of that was Impressionism. Then we also have Labo notation. Laba notation basically means it's like a nomenclature. It's a choreography. It's a way to go ahead and choreograph dances using nomenclature. And then we have leitmotif. Now, leitmotif basically means you're going ahead. It's a recurring theme in music and or opera. It's recurring. Then we have libretto, and this is basically means you're having it's a musical text of work. It's a text of a musical work. It's like the music sheet of a bunch of operas, those kinds of things. Then we have mimesis, and mimesis basically means it's an imitation of something. When you're mimesis of something, you're trying to imitate something. Or when you're mimicking something, you're trying to imitate. I'm not sure mimicking is actually the verb form, but it probably shouldn't be used anyway. Then we have minimalism, and minimalism is a kind of philosophy where the people who actually believe in it believe that less is more, that if less things, that you have a way better life. So if you have less food, it means that you're more full. That doesn't make sense, actually. And then we have modernism. Modernism is a kind of art style as well as an architecture style that goes ahead and talks about the modern world, designs from the modern world that are actually pretty useful right now as well too. It's also really in right now as well too. It's like all those courts, like those white mansions are made of. Those are in modernist styles. Then we have montage, and montage is just a visual art collage where you go ahead and you use a bunch of visual art such as videos, comics, or maybe even some sort of dances to go ahead and create a montage to create a point. Then we have muse, and a muse is your source of inspiration. The muse towards your paintings is where you got inspiration for those paintings. Why you wanted to draw those paintings. That's what your muse is. Then we have pastiche, and pastiche basically means it's an art made from existing materials. It's art that you go ahead and you make from existing materials. Like, say, you create a collage from, I don't know, water bottles or caps or even collection tapes. That's not going to be useful. And then we have repertoire, and repertoire basically means it's a library of performed works. It's a bunch of things in what that you play, that you're performing, that you're doing. The repertoire of Shakespeare includes Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Othello, and so much more. Then we have Rococo, and Rococo basically it's an architecture style, but it's also a French architecture style. The people who made the baguette. It's also the olden days, and that's why when a lot of people realized that the Eiffel Tower was built in the original day, they hated it because it probably wasn't Rococo. Then we have Surrealism, also kind of originated in France. It was pretty popular there, but then again, it's more European. And Surrealism is another art style that I already discussed on this channel, so go watch those videos. Haha. Next up we have Thespian, and Thespian is just a fancy way of saying an actor. I've been an actor myself, and I honestly do not enjoy it. And then we have tragedian. A tragedian is a kind of actor, and you probably know which kind of actor it is. Yes, you're right, it's the kind that does tragedies. Well, it's in the name, isn't it? Then we have triptych. And triptych basically means it's a picture carving. Instead of going ahead and you're taking a picture, you're going ahead and you carve it out. You carve it out from something as well, too. It's carvings, and it's usually done on 3 panels. Go ahead and make it a bit bigger. And then we have trumpet l'oeil. It's actually from a foreign language. I personally think it's from French. But then it basically means it's an instance of visual trickery. Well, trickery. It's a visual trickery. It's basically illusions. It's the art of illusion. You know those swirls that make it that if you're supposed to look at them at angles and you look at one and the other they seem to move? It's not this one because I can't draw those, but something like that. Then we have verism. And verism basically it's a theory that art must represent reality. Art is a way to represent reality in more than one ways or not. So it should be as accurate as possible. And then we have virtue. Virtue is basically the quality of being artistic. It's how artistic you are, how qualified you are. And then the antonyms. Finally, we are the antonyms of art. We have elemental, and those are just the basic things. The elementals are the basics of something. And then we have vestigial, and this just basically means you are imperfectly developed. It's imperfect. When something's vestigial, it's imperfect. And that is it for art. Now it's time for the words for ask. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do ask and then call it a day here. For ask, we have a few words such as precatory, which basically means you're expressing by an entreaty. You're expressing something through writing or a treaty, shall I say. Then you're suppliant, and when someone's suppliant, that basically means that person is characterized by humble imploring. They're humbly imploring themselves. And then we have invocation, and invocation basically is the process of invoking something. When you're invoking something, you're just going ahead and you're processing it. Then we have mendicant, which basically means you are a beggar when you're a mendicant. That just means you're a beggar, which basically means you have to ask for things a lot. Now for the verbs, we have adjure, which basically means you're going ahead and you're requesting something solemnly. You ask for something a lot. And then we have beseech. And beseech basically means you're imploring something with a lot of urgency, something like urgent. If you ever watched a new Wild Robot movie, you'll know what all that urgency comes from that beeping factory alarm. So that's beseech. And then we have canvas. Canvas basically means you're going ahead and you're soliciting support. You're going ahead and you're getting support for something. And then we have catechize, and catechize basically means you're going ahead and you're questioning something very, very closely. You're questioning someone or something very closely. Then we have entreaty. And when you entreat for something, that basically means you're asking for something very, very unearnestly. You're kind of in a hurry, those kind of things. Alright, then we have exhort. Now, exhort basically means you're going ahead and you are to urge someone to go ahead and do something. So when you're exhorting something, that basically means you're going ahead and you're urging someone to do something. Then you have implore, and when you're imploring for something, that basically means you're going ahead and you're begging for something. And then we have importune. And importune basically means you're going ahead and you're formally asking for something as well too. And then we have interpalliate, and you're going ahead and you're formally asking for something as well too. When you're importuning something, importune, that basically means you're going ahead and you are bothering someone with a request. Then we have obtest, and that basically means you're begging for something again. And you have supplicate, which just basically means you're making something. When you're supplicating something, you're making something. I'm gonna try to hurry through all these words here. And then we have affirm, and affirm here basically means you're stating something positively. And then we have profess, which just basically means you're going ahead and you're making an open declaration of one particular thing. And I ran out of time. And so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here for now. But this is part 1. I'll see you guys in part 2, where we'll be going ahead and talking about the synonyms for these words: attractive, augur, and authority. See you guys then. Sean out. Peace. Bye bye.